Doctors say this latest medical threat is reason enough to warn again against the overuse of antibiotics. And patients who have travelled overseas are at risk, particularly to Italy and Greece.
If you are hospitalised in those countries, there's a very high chance that if you are infected, that you might be carrying at least this bug.
Karen O'Sullivan, 7 News.
More than 800 Victorian workers will lose their jobs after BAE Systems decided to shut down its Williamstown shipbuilding yard. It's the end of a century-old Victorian industry, and both the company and unions have blasted the federal government, saying it could have been avoided.
They're highly skilled, responsible for building our high-tech warships, and they've been told they'll be soon out of a job.
Shocking, isn't it? The Australian government, they're pathetic.
Oh, it's depressing a bit, but what can you do?
Put simply, their work has run out. BAE Systems has announced it will not bid to build 21 patrol boats for the federal government to give to Pacific Islands. That contract was the last hope to keep the shipyard going.
The company said by about June next year, there'll be no one here.
Yeah, this has just been a real insult that there was light at the end of the tunnel, and that's just been snuffed out.
The issue is timing. Even if BAE won that patrol boats contract, the Williamstown dock would have had no work for 18 months. As we've been saying, the Australian naval shipbuilding industry needs the government to act with a plan that supports continuous production. The industry wants the federal government to tender out its projects at a steady pace and with plenty of notice, so there are no big gaps between work. But unions say despite the federal government's promises to fix it, the process remains ad hoc and impossible to predict.
This government needs to step up to the plate and give certainty to industry so that companies and workers and families can make plans for the long term.
By early next year, an industry which has been operating on the site for more than 100 years will come to an end.
I was kind of hoping to be here till I retired. I started building ships when I was 16.
Workers warn once the yard closes down, their skills will be lost forever.
Both our last two governments, both Labor and Liberal, have done the wrong thing by shipbuilding.
And Laurel Irving is in Williamstown this evening. Laurel, when will these jobs be lost?
Mitch, they'll go when the work here is complete. BAE Systems still has a number of contracts it's finishing off. The main one of that is building the landing helicopter dock for the Navy. But by this time next year, this historic site will lie dormant. There is a chance down the track that work could be restarted, but workers here know that that would be very expensive and pretty unlikely. So unfortunately, this effectively means the end of the shipbuilding industry here in Victoria, Mitch.
Sad news. Thank you, Laurel. 2 policemen have been lucky to escape with their lives in a horrific crash at a tram stop near Flinders Street Station. One was struck in the head by a large steel pole that could quite have easily killed him.